Hello, welcome to Slayer call number 83. I'm fixing something real quick and then we'll get started. Okay, it is fixed. This is issue 489 on the PM repo. Sorry, I'm dealing with one tiny technical issue. Sorry about that. We are now good to go. Issue 489, shared in the chat. We will spend as much time as necessary on Kiln, on the merge, and then go into our normal discussions. Thank you for joining. Let's see. I don't have anything under the Kiln agenda, but there's plenty to talk about. I think most pertinent thing is the launch of the Kiln, the public, the not devnet, the testnet Kiln. I think Perry and or Mikhail probably have the most up-to-date information. Would you mind sharing it with us?
Hey everyone. Yeah, so we have the Kiln configs that went up yesterday. The testnet itself is about 104, 105,000 validators, and a couple of client teams are participating. So They've already been sent the mnemonics and would be validating with them. If anyone else wants to join and doesn't yet have validators, then we can just make deposits for you guys. All the tooling links have been posted, and we are slowly working on a guide for each and every client. If you guys do make releases with the config built in, then please let us know so we can update the dates. TTD is set to be, I think, like 100 million or something like that. So based on last week's run, that should last us up till mid of next week. But it's almost impossible to know if someone from the public runs a miner and choose through the TTD, but we're hoping that it will last for at least a week.
Awesome. So is the proof of work and the proof of stake genesis, have they already occurred at this point?
Yeah, good point to mention. Proof of work genesis has occurred. Proof of stake genesis has not happened yet. So the beacon chain hasn't been launched yet. The beacon chain would go live tomorrow around this time. Yeah, that's the main difference. And the merge fork epoch is, I think, epoch 150, so about half a day or a day later.
Cool. And I believe the ETH staker folks are trying to do a party call, but now they have to feel the pain of proof of work and scheduling. So they'll probably release some details soon. And I do believe on the EF blog, we'll have a blog post go out either today or tomorrow about details here. So keep your eyes peeled if you are listening and you want to participate and learn more. Okay. Did anybody have any questions about Kiln? Questions?
Let's do a quick recap on why it was put back by 10 days or so, because this is not what we agreed at the last meeting, and I'm very mindful of little delays.
So
they killed us on Altair.
There are two things that we're attempting to do. One is to have the technicals ready and to vet things and to run stuff for long enough and to understand what's going on. The other is to engage with the wider community. Merge DevNet 5 handled the former, kept things moving on the former, so I didn't. There's no delay there. Whereas the latter was simply not ready for public engagement. And so, although the technical stream continued to move forward at the pace that was at whatever pace developers could do, we couldn't really enter into that secondary stream. But it was decided that that secondary stream, which engages with users this month, wouldn't actually delay the release of testnets in April. The only thing that would really do that would be if you push that way back or if the technical stream was the delay. So we kind of wanted to ensure that the public version of this was ready. That was the discussion at least had last week.
Got it. Okay, thanks. Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, and part of that, we could debate whether that actually shifts the timelines, but that was the discussion. And as of now, we do not plan on delaying the public testnets in April.
Yeah, and I think one thing I'll add on what Danny just said is, what's really important with Kiln is getting as much kind of real world usage and good. But now it's really important to try and reach out to folks and get them to deploy applications, test end-to-end tooling, make sure that it's not only like deploying an actual smart contract on mainnet, but it's or on Kiln, but it's deploying your contract through some pipeline, with your CI tools, making sure that your front end works, making sure that things like Truffle and Hardhat and that stuff works, so that we don't have any kind of bad surprises when we fork the actual test nets.
Cool. Other Kiln or merge related comments or discussions?
I have a minor update on v2.1 release. So Kiln v2.1, it's released now. It doesn't have any. Yeah, it's backwards compatible with v2, and I'm pretty sure that we start like this persistent testnet with v2. Then clients will be able to upgrade to v2.1 independently So it has two like changes that requires changes to implementations. First one is the quality of service on exchange transition configuration method, and another one is the related to optimistic sync. Yeah, and basically it allows for importing any post-merge block optimistically. So any block that is the descendant of a transition block can be applied to the fork choice optimistically, and yeah, it's considered safe. It's just makes it simpler, the code of optimistic sync, so it doesn't introduce any breaking changes. That's like short update from my side.
Thank you. And I believe, yeah, go on.
I have a small update for the merge, the engine fuzz stuff. So I've written a differential fuzzer to test different implementations of the engine API against each other on the consensus layer, and I updated that to the new spec, and I'm currently starting to add clients to it. Right now it's only doing Geth and Bisu, and it immediately finds a difference between Geth and Bisu, and that's probably because of some reverse sync in Bisu. But I'm planning to add Nethermind and Ethereum JS to it, and then as soon as Aragon is ready, also Aragon. Yeah, if other folks are interested in being added to that, then they should just contact me.
Regressions is probably Mario's Hive engine API tests, I would presume.
Yeah, exactly. And we're also trying to get the other execution layer clients to the Hive tests, so that we can execute the tests that we already have on them.
Got it. On that note, any other testing updates? I know that the Medi and some others are kicking off getting beacon fuzz up to Bellatrix targets. So I believe by end of the month that should be in the fuzzing infrastructure.
I have like a small discussion point. Do we want to fill out the Kiln milestones tables? So I see some clients updates here, but others not like filled in.
I would push for it just because I think there's like thousands of views. Yeah, there's like 7,000 views on that page almost. So
Yeah.
if people want to quickly update it, I think that would be valuable. Or even if you're too busy to update the actual table, but you have a tracking issue or something, I don't mind doing it on behalf of clients myself. But just because there's thousands of views on the page, I think it'd be good.
Yeah, agreed. And I guess just to state it out loud, we're running, Marius, we're running the bad transaction fuzzer and bad blocks on Kiln.
So the transaction fuzzer is running intermittently. Every now and then, every time I have like some free CPU cycles, I'm running the transaction fuzzer. And the bad block generator, I updated the bad block generator to the new V2 spec. But I don't think we have a node running that at the
Gotcha.
moment.
Okay, that'll probably be valuable soon.
But
go on.
yeah, but that also the bad block generator only generates bad blocks after the merge, so
Right.
it's not really useful before
Yeah.
that.
Gotcha. Another thing that I think would be valuable for this or other kind of simulation type tests is to have maybe quite as interesting as what's going on in the transaction world in terms of what you can do, but probably worth sending some operations. Midweek, good luck estimating. We'll plan on doing on the consensus layer side for a release, I guess semi-major version bump or major version bump. I think we did a major version bump at Altair. Or not. I need to go back and look. Anyway, we will do a release probably at the end of March when we are making decisions about forking testnets. So whenever we're doing that and Kiln has been running for at least a couple of weeks, we'll get some sort of more frozen official release together. We might see some iterative test vectors come out. In the meantime, we're doing a pass just to make sure we have the coverage that we need. Anything else on the merge before we move on?
Just one more point. It would be great if example didn't recognize that and would not serve you any content. And while we can argue that execution endpoint shouldn't be accessible by DNS in like setups which use Kubernetes, that is by default what's going to happen. So if
Upgrades lists and some other stuff where we will solicit people to do so. Merge going once, going twice. Sold.
Oh, sorry, I actually have something
Okay.
really quick. Yeah, TJ Rush, our resident difficulty bond expert, and someone else on ETH Research whose handle is Yulsa. Anyways, they put together a Dune dashboard looking at the amount of blocks that gets produced on mainnet per week, which is basically a good indicator for when the difficulty bond is going to start to kick in. So it looks at like all of Ethereum's history